Hello, welcome back to Creators Dementia. This will be season 2 because I have went on a very long break and I am back and I am better than ever. I like to think so, and it's all because of things that has happened. So stay tuned and you will see exactly what I'm talking about. Hello and welcome back to Creators Dementia. This will be season 2, as I said before. Awesome update with my life. I need to quit moving my chair so much and stay in front of this microphone. Legion's Dawn has been released. I finished it. I caught the virus that is going around, that's been going around since a couple of years now, that everybody's always freaking out about. Second time I've caught it in 6 months, so that's lovely. But during that time, like for that week, I was actually supposed to take my kids on vacation, and it had to be postponed because of that. So because it was postponed, I got through the edits of Legion's Dawn completely, and I got it published. Woo, buddy! So for the ones who are watching me on YouTube, this is what it looks like. Legion's Dawn, Legion Series Book 1 by yours truly, Bradley Botts. And it's got an awesome synopsis and a little picture and bio. But this cover here was actually created by my niece, Brenna Kane. So she did an amazing job, and I'm so proud of this book. And like I said, if you're looking on YouTube, look how thick this sucker is. 468 pages of pure awesomeness, and that does not include the dedication page. But yes, Legion's Dawn is available on Amazon. And if you have Kindle Unlimited, you can read it that way too. Because either way it goes, by pages you read with Kindle Unlimited, even though it's free with that, I get paid by pages read. So, win-win. You can get it for free with Kindle Unlimited. I still get paid. It is $16 on Amazon for the physical copy, and I made it $10 on the Kindle, so that way there won't be a delivery fee to your Kindle. If it was below $10, they would have charged you so many cents to get it. So I was like, no, let's do it the right way. So yes, Legion's Dawn is now available, and I am super excited. And another piece of awesome news: there is a character in this book by the name of Sebastian that a friend of mine helped me create, and he has finished his novella of Sebastian's origin story, so to speak. You know, it tells just a little bit more about that character, which is amazing. He sent it to me, so I'm fixing to read through it, do some suggestions, edit it a little bit, so that way we can get that book out there pretty soon. And hopefully I can get him to get more into writing, because he does have an imagination such as mine, and it's spectacular. He's kind of in the point where I was when I created Zed's Rising. You want to create this story, you want to get it out in the world, but you haven't had a lot of experience with it. So I am here to keep pushing him forward. His name is Alan Graves. He is an awesome friend of mine. He cosplays with me. He always keeps me writing. He always gives me inspiration, and I'm trying to do the same for him. So yes, Sebastian's origin story esque is going to be out there at some point, and I'm going to help him get it out there as quickly as possible. But yes, that is the big update for my life right now. Is Legion's Dawn Book 1 is released. I cannot say it enough. It's amazing and I love it. I actually purchased a booth at our local watermelon festival. It's actually a pretty decent event. A lot of people attend, a lot of people show up, and I am going to get more copies to sell of my book, to advertise and hopefully sell more and maybe get my name out there a little bit more. That is my goal as of right now, is to push myself further than I thought I could. I have been researching marketing. I've been researching advertising. I've been looking into different ways to broaden out the media brand that I'm trying to do. So hopefully one day I will be a global name for all of you to see. Also, I am recording in 2 different aspects here. I've got my camera plus this microphone, and it's like, doing the visual for YouTube. And I'm also recording on Audacity to hopefully record an MP3 and maybe, just maybe, get put on Spotify, because that's all they accept is MP3. The way I've been recording this entire time is MP4. Well, I convert it to MP4, and a lot of podcast platforms do not take MP4, so I am going to try my best to convert to MP3 and also MP4. So if this is on Spotify and you are first tuning in to Creators Dementia, this is going to be season 2. Season 1 is on Podbean, YouTube, Listen Notes, TuneIn, all the great stuff. And like I said, hopefully this will be out on iTunes as well, because I know iTunes does MP3. So fingers crossed, everybody. Maybe I'll get there. Anyways, I haven't really thought of a topic today, so I'm just going to wing it. And I know it's a bad thing to do because I do tend to ramble when I wing it, or my speech just gets all slurred and ridiculous, and sometimes it's hard for me to keep up. But let's try this out. So on today's episode of Creators Dementia, season 2, grand opening, I guess, I don't know, we are going to talk, well, you know what, since I published Legion's Dawn, we're going to talk about publishing. Oh, also, for season 2, before I get into the actual topic of publishing, for season 2, I am going to try my best to get more interviews and more actual conversations, because if you're like me, when you listen to podcasts, like I love Between Lewis and Lovecraft, it's a friend of mine's podcast, and it is amazing, and him and Hannah talk about all these remarkable things. I like listening to both of them conversate back and forth. I like more of a duo or a trio concept, or a group of people talking, more than just a single person. So I can just imagine why some people don't actually tune into Creators Dementia, because except for like 3 episodes, it's basically just been me. And I know my voice ain't that bad, but sometimes you just really like to hear people actually have a conversation. If you're like me, you love the dialogue between people. So hopefully I can actually get some interviews in here, some more authors. I might actually try to bring Carly back, because it was fun talking with her anyways. Hopefully I can get some more podcasters. That way, they can also do some tips on podcasting and help, anybody out there that's wanting to start one. And also I'm going to try and get musicians. I have put some feelers out there to try and interview some cosplayers, because, that's part of creativity. So maybe somebody will hit me back with that. But yes, I am going to try my best in attempts to make this podcast more enjoyable, and ain't nothing going to stop me. I know I took me a very long break. It was just bad timing is all it was. But I have revamped my life to a point where I can actually do this. It is going to be more frequent, and it is going to be more enjoyable. I'm going to do more writing. I am going to do more photography. I am going to do more cosplay. I haven't cosplayed in forever. And I was talking to a good friend of mine, Paul, and he told me that one of the good things about what I do that he's not seen many other authors do is incorporate cosplay and writing. So we're going to see how that actually turns out, because I've got to get back into the media aspect and the entertainment aspect of everything that I am trying to work for. I have fallen behind. And as some of you know, my cosplay Reaper was the inspiration for the book Legion's Dawn. So, there's some inspiration and some creativity in me. I just got to bring it out. But let's move forward. Now you know what to expect for season 2. Like I said, I'm going to get it going. But publishing. Now, when I published Zed's Rising, I went through a company which is like a midway point between traditional and independent. It didn't work out so well. They did good. Do not get me wrong. I'm glad they got my book out there. But there was a lot I had to learn. and there's a lot of stuff that I should have done, and it is expensive to get my own copies through them. Like, per book isn't so expensive with what they charge, but there's a minimum amount you have to buy, which is pretty, if you don't have that kind of cash, it's kind of hard to grab. So with Zed's Rising, I'm literally going to probably have to just go to Amazon and order a couple copies to take with me to the festival. But like I said, Light Switch Press, it is a good press. Do not get me wrong. I'm not going to dog Light Switch Press. They published my first book, and I will be forever grateful for that. But I had a lot to learn, and I did not know exactly what I got myself into when I went to Light Switch Press. Zed's Wayward Son, I did it the same way I did Legion's Dawn. I went straight to KDP. Now, if you own Zed's Wayward Son, or, if you've seen it, and for the ones that's watching on YouTube, if you haven't seen it, it is a thick book, but it's huge. Like, dimensional wise, it's huge. And I even misspelled amateur wrong on the back. That's my fault. But it is, the dimensions of this book, it works. It does work. And, the book looks good. Do not get in, I did my own cover for this one. The book does look good, but I want it to look like a traditional book, like the one, like most of them look. That's what I did with Legion's Dawn here. It's a lot more compact. It is thicker, but a lot more compact and a lot more handy. So with Zed's Wayward Son, there was one thing, well, there's probably multiple things, but there was one thing I didn't do that I did not know I could do, which was margin size and change the dimensions. Now, I type everything in Microsoft Word. I love Word. A lot of people don't like it, but I love it. And there are some other programs out there that, are good, but Microsoft Word has always been my go-to. And when I did Zed's Wayward Son, like I said, I used Microsoft Word. I just hit my microphone. I need to put my hand down. I used Microsoft Word, but I did not change the margins. So that caused it to go into the dimension that it's in. Now, when I was trying to choose the dimensions for Zed's Wayward Son, like I said, did not know I could change the margin size. So every time I'd click on like a 5x9, not a 5x9, like a 5x8 or something like that, my words would be past the red line, so it wouldn't able to actually use those types of dimensions. So I kept clicking to the one to where those would actually fit inside the book, and that's what I got. I think it's like a 10 by something. I can't remember. I'd have to honestly look it up. So that's why it come in such a big form, because I did not do what I should have done. I didn't research it. Still a good book, but yes, when you go to publish a book, always check the margin size. Do your research. So when I went to do Legion's Dawn, now I was trying to get it in the traditional form, nice, compact, and small. Which, like I said, I'm happy with the way it turned out. But there was a certain dimension I was trying to get a hold of. I just couldn't do it. I could not figure out the margin size. So I went just like a half an inch bigger or something like that, and it fit perfect. And I think that's probably what I'm going to start using, is just this type of dimension for this book. But when you're doing your own publishing, like I said, if you're going through a publishing company, they can do the dimensions for you. You may not even have to worry about it. Hopefully, the ones listening that's writing has an agent and has the best career of their life when it comes to being an author, and trying to get your name out there. And I wish everybody that wants to venture into this type of journey the best of luck. It is hard. Writing a book is really hard. Publishing a book is really hard, but it's worth it. Always keep that in mind. Even when you think that something's holding you back and you're just ready to give up, just keep going, because it will pay off in the end. I have sold many copies of Legion's Dawn. I sold many copies of both my Zed's books. Tyler, when he put together Tales from Quillandia, I know he'd done his research, and he just released Penny Lynch not too long ago. But yes, always do your research. And I can't say this, I know I say it a lot in some of these episodes, but you there's never too much research. Research is a good thing. I mean, some people go old school way. They try, go get a book to be like, how to be an author, or how to, just researching through the pages on how to do something. But if, like, in all honesty, if you have internet, you have the biggest research tool known to man. And I know sometimes that this particular search engine is a bit biased. It just depends on how you word it. But Google, just use Google. Eventually you will find what you're looking for. That's what I did with doing the margins for Legion's Dawn. I went straight to Google and I figured out what the proper margin size is for this type of dimension of book. So I mean, there's a lot of information out there that's at our fingertips that we need to learn to use and learn to love, instead of regret having to put in this extra form of work just to do something properly. I mean, it's always do the research, always keep going. Okay, so now publishing with KDP is pretty easy. Besides doing the whole margin thing, you create your own author page. It's an Author Central, and you go to the KDP website. Now, doing the cover, you have to be careful, because if they have their own that you can choose from, I don't recommend that, because they're very generic, and anybody can use those covers. That's why it's always great to create your own cover, and you have to follow certain guidelines to get your picture to fit decently on the cover of your book. So research that as well. But I think that was, besides the margin, that was about the hardest part, was trying to get the cover of Legion's Dawn perfectly within the actual frame of the book. Now, if you notice on Zed's Wayward Son, my picture, it's not full length. It's kind of midway and it wraps around. I was hoping to get it full length and wrap around, but it just wasn't possible with the picture I was trying to use, so that's how it came out. And if to better project the cover of your book, I recommend, if you do your own picture cover, which, like I said, I highly recommend, take it over to Paint or whatever program that you use to create artwork, and get your own lettering in there. Because KDP is does not have a big selection when it comes to fonts. I found this font in Paint. I think it's like Algerian, and I loved it. And I used Algerian for, where it says chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3. I used that as well. But I recommend using a program to do the finishing touches on your book cover, so that way you have a more broad font choice. So that way it's not just so generic looking, kind of like how Zed's Wayward Son was. I didn't know that when I did Zed's Wayward Son, but I figured it out right when I was doing Legion's Dawn. So I would recommend, like I said, doing your own font and then uploading the image to KDP. And I done the bottom part where it says Legion Series Book 1 Bradley Bott's at the bottom. I did that in Paint as well, so that way I could do it myself and it not be so generic. Now the back of it, I did find a good font for that, which was in KDP, and that's what makes it look so scriptic. I don't even know if that's an actual word, but that's what I'm gonna call it. And the picture, I always pick a good picture. I don't try and do the generic, like black and white, hand on your chin, kind of looking to the distance, like, hey, I'm a smart guy, I wrote a book type picture. Like the one on back of Legion's Dawn is me literally in front of this microphone with steampunk goggles on my head. And I like this picture. And, it showcases that not only do I write, but I also podcast. So I think it might be a decent advertising tool. Now with Wayward Son, I got a picture of me with a hat backwards and my Superman shirt, and I think I'm doing the peace sign. I don't do the normal author picture. I try and liven it up a bit. I try and do something just a little extra. Maybe if that's what people, pay attention to, they're like, okay, this guy that has an imagination and he doesn't want to be like the rest of them. So, maybe I'll give him a shot. But yes, create your own cover or get someone to create it for you. Now, I had to change the resolution of the picture so that way it would be more visual. So I heightened the resolution in my Adobe Lightroom app, and then I had to change the color a bit because it was going to be a little too bright. But, it came out great. Like, I love how my niece drew. I mean, she is a fantastic artist. I love how she drew the fallen angels, and I love how she drew a shadowed figure at the bottom with like gray wings, which represents Reaper. I love it. I'm in love with this cover. I don't think it could have been done any better. Like, she has an ultimate talent when it comes to her artistic abilities. It is beyond comprehensible in my mind. But yeah, and so moving on from, and if you have any questions about anything I'm talking about, please feel free to ask away. I will answer them as best as possible. So moving on from cover design, we're going to go into, after it gets accepted from KDP, they say it can take up to 72 hours. So plan ahead for like a book release. It only took mine maybe 36 or 32. I know it was less than their projected time for it to be accepted, but it did take an extra day for the physical copy to be available to order. It took less than 24 hours for it to be available on Kindle. So, I mean, you can automatically do digital download and get it out there for people to go ahead and start downloading, buying, and reading, and then you just have to wait a day or two for the actual physical copy. And once the physical copy is ready to go, I think you have like maybe 48 hours and you can start ordering author copies. Now, setting your price is completely up to you. I do not recommend going overboard. I did that with Zed's Rising when I was selling it by hand. I made that mistake, but I learned from it. But and you also choose the percentage of royalty. I choose 30, so that way taxes don't get eat up on me. And if I have a book to sell myself, I keep all that royalty. So I didn't lose anything. And they have a specific amount for each author copy. Now, it's always cheaper, of course, than you being a customer and buying a book. So save accordingly on how many books you actually want to order, because it can take a decent amount of money. Now, KDP does not have a minimum amount to buy. It has a maximum. You can only buy up to 999 copies. If someone buys that many, then God forbid. I mean, glory to them. That is just awesome. I couldn't afford that. But I got 25 copies. They're gone. But I know it costs a decent amount, but you make your money back because you can, like how I do it. If I buy author copies to sell, I'll sell it for a little lower price than what is actually online, so that way more people will actually buy it and you actually make more royalty. That's a marketing decision that I made, and it's a pretty good financial one, because the amount I pay for the book versus the amount I sell them for, I still make money. So it's pretty good. But publishing, like I said, once you actually get that book out there, get it published, get it into the hands of your fans and your readers, it's a great feeling, because people will get excited about being able to read a big piece of art that their friend or someone that they know has put out there. Like, I have an amazing support system. It is beyond ridiculous. And if it wasn't for my support system, I probably wouldn't have kept going. My wife is my biggest supporter, and she's always telling me, sit down and write. You got to make more. And when you have somebody like that behind you, you push for that publishing of your work, and you push for the right ways to do stuff. But publishing it's a chore, or I should say getting ready to publish is a chore. There will be times where you just want to be like, I really don't want to do this. But you always got to remember it's the journey that you should be excited for, not the end game. Because the experiences you have while getting there, you will remember. I know you'll definitely remember when that book is out there. That's a given. But the journey that you take, the more you learn. And I'm not going to say it'll be easier, but it'll be more understanding, if that makes sense. But yeah, publishing is it's a whole nother world. I'll say it that way. But yeah, that is it for Creators Dementia episode publishing. I don't know what to call it, but this is the beginning of season 2. So thank you guys for listening. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. Keep me in your prayers on being able to move forward and get things going a lot more than what I have been, because it is my dream to seriously get the ball rolling, and it is my dream to honestly have a career in writing. And it's not a definitive career. It is a career. It's just not definitive, if I'm saying that right. But my passion is my goal, and my goal, I'm going to continue reaching for it, and I hope you guys do too. But yes, thank you for everything. Thank you for listening. Hopefully things will get better. That's all we can hope for. But that is it for today. I really appreciate y'all being here. You have no idea how much I appreciate the support. I don't say it enough, or I say it too much. I really don't know, but when it comes to someone like me with what we're trying to do, a support system is literally what we need to continue to move forward. So thank you very much for everything. I really appreciate it. But before I go, I started a blog. I'm fixing to start a newsletter once I figure out the logistics of it. And if you want to be on the mailing list for all that fun stuff, hit me up. I'll be more than happy to send you stuff. But I did start, I had a blog on Tumblr, and I let it go because it just was not getting any interactions. But then I was like, you know what? I like blogging, so I'm going to start it back up. So that's what I did on Tumblr. I'm pretty sure, what's it called? Said's Author, I think. I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. I'll put it in the description, so that way if you want to check it out, you can. And I also have a blog on Goodreads in my author section. And it's usually, what I write in Goodreads is usually the same thing I put on Tumblr. So either one, if you want to read, perfectly fine. But yes, that is it. I am going to go find me something to eat. I am tired. I am hungry. And I got a lot of work to do. So thank you guys very much. I hope you have a great weekend. Thank you for coming by. I really appreciate it. Creators Dementia out. Look, I'm a zombie.